Dead Island to me at the time seemed a bit goofy, and I really don't know why. I think it's the jankiness of the storytelling, but overall, back in the day, Dead Island really didn't click with me too much. It didn't, it just seemed like another zombie game. But looking back on it, I think it's aged quite well. It's got enough variety with its gameplay in the sense of weapon selection, 4 different playable characters, co-op, and might I add, the co-op is actually still working to this day. Servers are still online, and although I played this on Xbox, that's the Series X, because I get the FPS boost, which means the game's running at 60 FPS now. I didn't have a problem finding cooperative partners, whether they were joining me or I was joining them, it didn't really matter. I didn't tell anyone that I was playing this, I just joined random players. Helps with achievements, doesn't really help too much with the difficulty of the game, because the game is pretty much a zombie RPG. You're going to be running around semi-open worlds. I don't want to call it open world, but these are big enough areas where there's enough to explore, loot to get. You're going to be grabbing the coloured weapons, you know, of that era, where it's like, oh look, it's orange, it must be more rare than said purple colour or blue colour, and it must be more powerful. You can modify these weapons, so if you like to play with hammers, baseball bats, machetes, swords, knives. Personally, cannot stand the knives because of the range on them. I end up throwing them half the time. Speaking about throwing weapons, anything that's sharp-edged will stick in the enemy, but because the game is quite glitchy, if you will, when you throw these weapons, they sometimes stick in a zombie, and the zombie might fall through the floor, and that weapon is gone permanently. Weapons can fall apart, and it does cause problems. So if you do have a favorite weapon, it will get broken, and you're gonna have to wait until you get to a repair bench to repair it. You won't lose it, at least I never did. I don't think you can go beyond breaking it, but I can't say I ever really tried. Every time a weapon was starting to fail me, I just switched to something else, because you're carrying so many weapons at any given time. It wasn't really too much of a problem to switch to something, but if you definitely have a favorite weapon, it will degrade and it will be a problem, and you're gonna have to repair it, and it'll start not hurting the zombies. There's enough variety with the zombies, of course there is, but yeah, I needed a game where it was enough, had enough content to sink my teeth into over the summer. And Dead Island really has delivered. It's a little bit bloated, a little bit repetitive. There's not as much variety in, say, like Dying Light, for example, because this is like Dying Light, if you will. It's missing the mechanics of Dying Light. It's nowhere near as good, nowhere near as refined, but it's still a good time. I understand why some people actually prefer Dead Island to Dying Light. It's because it's a little bit more grounded, if you will. See what I did there? But it's also a slow-paced game. You're not running up walls and diving over buildings to get away from zombies. For the most part, you're just walking and attacking zombies. Now, the gameplay is good. The physics on the zombies are pretty good. I think the range on some weapons can be a little bit annoying, if I'm being honest. It just doesn't seem right that some zombies hit you when you're using clearly a bigger weapon than their arms are, but they still hit you. It's just a little bit annoying in that regard. You can, like I said, throw weapons, so if you really need to work on range, there's even a character dedicated to throwing weapons. Not that everyone can't do it, it's just that there's a certain character that's better at it than others. It gets to a certain point in the game and you've got plenty of different environments to go to, so it's not like a complete, like, you're in the island area, like the beaches and whatnot. It's not like that. There's towns, there's jungles. I could have done without the jungle section, if I'm being honest, with all the shootouts, because you're fighting human enemies, which is super annoying, but you tolerate it because the game's good. Like I said, you get people join you, play the whole game in co-op, if you will. I don't know if you can do any more than 2 people. I only ever had 1 extra person with me at any given time. I definitely didn't have more than that. Maybe you can have 4 players in, but I only ever had 1, and we just did random stuff. The environments lack physics, so you're not going to be able to kick any of the barrels over or anything like that. That's a little bit annoying, because it's just the zombies that seem to be interactable. But again, I'm complaining about a game that was originally on a PlayStation 3. But overall, Dead Island, it's shown its age a little bit. It's definitely the weakest of said Dead Islands and Dying Light franchise. I would definitely put this at the bottom. But as far as I'm concerned, there are no bad games in both series. They're all fun. You're gonna have a good time with Dead Island. If you haven't played it before, I recommend it. It's a good place to start because you'll be a bit more ignorant to the mechanics. If you've already played Dying Light, understand you're gonna have to tolerate some aged mechanics, things that just aren't as fun to play, if you will. A storyline that's not exactly engaging for an RPG, and moments, set pieces, if you will. You go to environments and then you leave said environments and the characters just act like nothing happened. If you're coming to play, I know this sounds really weird, if you're coming to play a zombie RPG for its story, you need to look elsewhere when it comes to Dead Island, because it really doesn't deliver. It hasn't got memorable characters, no memorable writing. You're here for the gameplay, you're here for the missions, what you're doing in the missions, you're here for the co-op, you're here for the weapons, the modifying the weapons. You're here for the mechanics, right? You're here for that atmosphere. The zombies, while they definitely don't look the best anymore, the sound effects of them screaming at you and running towards you still sets the mood. The atmosphere is still strong. Different weather effects. But yeah, Dying Light is a really good time, and it's the perfect game for the summer. It hit all the notes that I wanted. This is what I wanted. I was a little bit, needing something different, needing a different perspective. First person. I don't love first person. Definitely prefer third person. But when it comes to Dead Island, it comes to Dying Light, they hit the spot. I'd rather play this than, say, a Resident Evil 7, for example. This is the first person horror game to play. Dead Island, Dying Light, you can't really go wrong. But yeah, Dead Island still holds up, man. It's still a good time. Anyway, that's all I got on Dead Island. If you've played Dead Island, let me know down below what you think about it. Did you not like it? Have you played Dying Light? Do you prefer Dying Light or Dead Island? Let me know down below. If you're new here, subscribe. But yeah, that's all I got, people. I'll catch you later.